Okay, in this video we're going to prepare our photograph for print. In the previous video we resized, cropped our image, saved it as a Photoshop file, and we now have it opened up. Just to confirm, I'm going to go to image size. I suggest you do the same and confirm that your picture is indeed the size that you intend to print it at. For this first photo we're doing a 5 by 7. This is a horizontally oriented photograph, so my width is 7. My height is 5, and remember that the higher the resolution, the better the quality of our print, and we certainly wouldn't want to print anything lower than 300 pixels per inch. So I do have the right photograph, and it's been sized. Over here you can see that I've added some adjustment layers, and I've also made a copy of the original background in case I have done any damage. These adjustment layers don't actually damage the pixels, they just in essence create a filter to change the look. I always start with my levels first, and I'm going to double click on levels just to give you a taste of what adjustments have been made. This is my histogram, and the histogram is a graph that shows what all the pixels of this photograph are, and you can see that there are not many pixels that are in the highlight area. It's mostly a dark photograph. Most of the pixels are in this range in here, which is on the darker side. I've created this slider, moved it over so that I have a true black, because in essence right now nothing is showing true black. It's a really dark gray. If I hold my Alt button down, I can take this slider and you see that no pixels are totally black. So I'm going to slide this over until I just start to get some pixels that are showing up black. That means that this is where I have a solid black on mine. Likewise, I can do the same for the highlight area. Hold the Alt button down. You can see there's not much in the highlight area. I'm just going to bring this over just a little bit, and then I've got these key highlights here. The midtone is going to overall darken or brighten the photo. Realize that on the monitor it looks brighter than it is to print. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to turn my hue and saturation on now, and hue and saturation, we can really do some silly things here and make it not look real. This image without this layer, you can see that the colors are slightly washed out. If I turn this off, my reds are slightly washed out. If I turn it on, I can make some adjustments, but I don't want to go crazy. I'm probably on the heavy side of saturation here. You know, I wouldn't want to go in here. This is not a photograph anymore. This is starting to become digital art. So I want it to look realistic. So I'm going to go maybe somewhere in here. The hue and saturation, do we want it more orangey? Do we want it more red? And again, what the goal is try to make it look like what it really is. And we can also adjust brightness and contrast in here, or the brightness of the photo. I'm going to leave it somewhere in there. So before you hit print, I want you to double check with me. You shouldn't have more than one of any type of adjustment layer. In other words, if you have two levels layers, you're defeating the purpose. You don't understand what's going on. One levels layer is going to make, and you're just going to edit that layer to get what you want. Same thing is true with any other adjustment layer. This picture is ready to print. So I'm going to hit save, and then we're going to go through the printing process. I'm going to go to File, go to Print. If you haven't already loaded this printer, you would need to load this printer. We need the Epson photo printer, the R2800. We're going to yours is probably going to be defaulted to the center position. We don't want to waste a whole piece of paper, so I'm going to deselect that and move it 1/4 of an inch from the top of the page by typing that in right here. Now I'm not wasting any paper. Before we hit print, we're going to go to print settings. We want to make sure that we select the right kind of media. The media is the paper that we're using, and we're using photo grade paper and ultra premium photo luster paper. Make sure that this is what's loaded in the machine as well. We're going to go to maxed on the quality because we want it to look as good as it can be. This is going to give you kind of a readout. You can see that we're getting low on these inks, so you may be careful. Go over and check the printer to make sure there's not a light flashing so that you don't run out of a particular ink color in the middle of your print. and obviously it's not going to look like it should. So I think we've got everything set. I'm going to hit OK. Go ahead and hit print. It takes quite a while for this file to load, so don't expect it to come out quickly. It's going to take a little while for it to print, and that's it.